What do Falcons do? We rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general, the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, the Golden Hard Dog, and a lifelong sports fan. And guys, it is draft week, but something important happened yesterday. Falcons legend, and probably one of the reasons that I actually really started diving in and becoming a Falcons fan. Matt Ryan officially signed a one-day contract so that he could retire at his home as an Atlanta Falcon. He had a bad year in Indianapolis to close out his career. Overall, he never had a year where he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. It was probably one of his lower passer ratings in his final year, dating back to maybe his early years as a rookie. But overall, this is a man who had 10 seasons of more than 4,000 yards passing. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 seasons with 20-plus touchdowns. Had an average passer rating of 93.6, total touchdowns 381, interceptions 183. Total yards 62,792. Completion percentage of 65.6%. This is a man who brought stability to the Falcons franchise. And yes, he went 7-7 with seasons as a Falcon, but we had more good times than bad in memories with Matt Ryan. He's a guy who really divides the fan base. I don't understand it. We were reeling after the Michael Vick years, after having some pretty lackluster seasons, all things considered. Michael Vick was an incredible talent, and he squandered that potential by getting involved with the wrong people and staying connected to people that were not really good for him coming out of his childhood era. And he's admitted to that since. I think Michael Vick has completely turned his life around. I do think that he has made a full turnaround, but I think Matt Ryan was the answer to the Michael Vick era and to all of the problems that came from his reputation after that. Matt Ryan was a decent rookie. He led us to the Super Bowl. We didn't win that Super Bowl. I don't blame him completely for that. I blame the defense. I blame Kyle Shanahan's call playing. There's a number of things. I blame just freak plays of Julian Edelman catching a pass that looked like it should have not been caught. Take away any of those plays or give us one or two plays back and we win that Super Bowl. Matt Ryan did what he was supposed to in his MVP season. There are not many teams that can say they have had an MVP winning quarterback play for them. And I don't understand the hate that goes to Matt Ryan. Look at the Chicago Bears. They would kill to have any quarterback throw for 3,000 yards, much less 4,000 10 times in a row. But look, this is a man that did a lot for the Falcons. I don't profess to have always been a diehard Falcons fan. I really didn't get into the NFL as much. I've always been a Georgia Bulldog fan. I didn't get into the NFL until I started doing fantasy football. That really gave me a connection to the players. I used to think they were just all a bunch of sellouts who, they wouldn't play for the love of the game. They played for money. And I understand that. As I have become an adult and I have realized what money means to players, I understand that. I used to hate Matthew Stafford for leaving Georgia after his junior year. I thought if he had stayed, we had a solid chance in the, going into the 20 teens to be a national title contending team. And he left us instead of giving us one more year. And I would too, looking back at him getting like $75 or $80 million as a rookie from the Lions. Absolutely, I would have left too. It just makes sense, especially with the state of the NFL, with where things are at with contracts, with players needing to get their money before they end up, being out of a job, out of the league. It makes sense to take what you can get when you can get it. NIL, I think, has brought back a little bit of an even playing field with keeping players longer. I think some guys do better in college than they do at the pros. But again, Matt Ryan was like the first quarterback for me for the Falcons that I really connected to. He was a guy that I thought had a really clean image and really didn't do anything wrong while he was in Atlanta. He's a guy that you can call him straight-laced, you can call him without an edge, but he still won an MVP. He still was a consistently good quarterback for us. He did have great weapons like Tony Gonzalez, Roddy White, Julio Jones, even Taylor Gabriel mixed in there for a few years as the wide receiver 3. He had solid weapons. He had Michael the Burner Turner to hand the ball off to. He had Devonta Freeman for a season. or not a season, but several seasons. He had guys that helped make him look good as well, but that's every quarterback. Every quarterback has support casts that make them look good, or consequently make them look bad. We've been very lucky in the skill positions that Matt Ryan had. He did start showing age towards the end, and a little bit of that was scheming as well, I think. I think his last year was in 2021. We didn't have a good offensive line. He got absolutely murdered, and it showed. Um, he's retiring before the age of 40, which, for a guy that's been playing as long as he has is kind of crazy nowadays, thinking about how long Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady have played, because I feel like he is from that same ilk. Even Big Ben and a few of the other guys, the old guard, Drew Brees, all these guys who played into their early 40s, and he just didn't quite make it. But age did catch up to him. He didn't have the pop on the ball at the Colts when he went there. But I am incredibly grateful for Matt Ryan. I am grateful for what he's meant to the franchise. He deserves nothing but love from the fan base, and I don't really understand the hate. I'm not going to get into what I think is causing that, because I think it has no place in football. But again, I have some opinions on that, but it just doesn't have a place in football. This is a man who did a lot for this team. He took us to the promised land, but just couldn't deliver us. And he took us to several playoff runs. He took us to NFC championships. He took us to divisionals. He took us to all different places with supporting cast, with great coaching, but he still did it. I'm thankful for him. I'm grateful that he signed on one day with the Falcons to retire, and he is a Hall of Famer in my opinion. That's all I got for you today. This has been kind of my love letter to Matt Ryan. There's some things coming out. The draft is coming out here in the next couple of days. We'll see if the NFL drops a punishment on us for the Kirk Cousins collusion or not. But, that's all I got for you. I'll be live streaming the draft, at least the first round. But thank you for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks, Matt Ryan. And as always, rise up.